Welcome back to the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard us talk about our favorite Christmas songs as we finished out our Christmas block. So we hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun to talk about.
But we're here this week, back to the regular old grind. We have no fucking theme for this episode whatsoever. It's January. No. Here's the deal. Let me bring up something, AJ.
Yeah?
What the fuck do we do after Christmas?
Besides New Year's?
Yeah, but even then, it's like...
That is still... yeah.
New Year's is so sad.
Yeah.
It's fucking sad, man.
But you get to drink, and that's fun.
That's true. I need to go to a good New Year's party.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully I did go to a good New Year's party. Maybe I don't remember it. I got so drunk.
Exactly.
But anyway... So AJ, we have an interesting dichotomy of albums right here.
Yes, we do. Oh, I love the word coming back. I love that.
It's the word.
It's a new year, but some things still stay the same.
We'll have merch that'll come out the same time as our Instagram content. It'll be great.
Exactly. It'll be added to the wiki too.
Oh man,
all these false promises. We're so sorry, family heads.
Someday
we'll get there.
Someday.
Love Ween.
Dude, I've been listening to the Caesar demos nonstop.
So fucking good, right?
I think I like Someday Caesar better than Someday Shinola.
Okay.
Like, I just love how...
Really?
I love how weird though. He's like, Someday!
When he sounds like a Muppet.
It's so weird, but I love it. So many weird dude, I've been diving into like deep fucking Ween. Craters of the Sack.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Have you checked out Crucial Squeegee Lip, their very first project?
Not yet.
It's a lot.
I did the Ween iceberg because there's like a Ween iceberg picture on Google Images if you just look it up.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I started looking up some of their other stuff, like their unreleased like shit that's also kind of in the Ween know. And let me tell you, man, it's when you go down that rabbit hole, it's wild.
I know. There's so much. It's crazy.
So fucking much. They just never stop.
I know.
And I admire them for that. But unfortunately, we're not talking about Ween. We got
eventually.
I think we gotta.
We'll get there.
Maybe the last episode. Maybe we could talk about them or something like that.
That'd be fun.
Wait, we can just review it.
Yeah.
I've listened to all of them, but it's okay. But AJ, what album did you give me for this first week of January?
So the album that I gave to Matt is The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking by Roger Waters.
And I gave AJ Daft Punk's Human After All.
Yes, so as you can see, a pair of albums with no relation to each other.
One of them I really enjoy, and the other one
is by Roger Waters.
I'll let you know my thoughts as we get to it. AJ, which one do you want to start with first? I'm chill with starting with either one first.
So here's the thing. I feel like Human After All, I feel like we'll have very similar opinions on, and it'll be, a very, probably like similar discussion. Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking might be interesting because there's a story that we also have to dissect.
Yes, there is.
And I believe we have a bit of an American football situation brewing, Matt.
We just might. We really just might.
For those who don't know, that is when we bring on an album to shit on it, but then the more we listen to it, the more we realize we actually like it.
Well, one of us might. I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet, to be quite honest with you.
More specifically, I'm having an American football situation here.
Which one do you want to start with, or should we flip a coin?
Let's flip a coin. Let's fucking go on Google.
Okay, you can flip the coin. I guess I'll go fuck myself.
All right, Matt, do it.
Welcome, the new host of the Family Album, Thomas Murphy.
Don't scare me like that. That's the darkest timeline.
He walks through the door.
Hi, guys. Oh my God, he's here.
Ninja Sex Party is so much better than Brian Wilson.
We didn't assign heads or tails for either of his albums.
No, we didn't.
And it's tails.
It's tails. So let's do it again. Okay. Let's say that fuck it, I'll be biased. Let's say Daft Punk is heads, and then Pros and Cons.
Roger Water tail.
Yeah. A Roger Water tail.
Flip again. We got heads.
All right.
Human After All.
That probably works out better anyway, because we're gonna dive into a lot with the pros and cons.
That is true.
But I guess that means I should jump into some history for Human After All.
That sounds fucking splendid for this first episode of the new year.
Well, Daft Punk's third studio album, Human After All, was released on March 14th, 2005. It was created by Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel de Honum Cristo. I tried really fucking hard to be able to pronounce that.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
He's not listening.
He's our biggest fan, Matt.
He's a millionaire. He's not listening to this.
He's right up there with Nate Roos and that other guy who got screwed over in Fun.
Yeah, what's his name? Patrice Wilson?
God, Patrice Wilson, if you're listening to this, fucking turn us off.
I do not want to be in your music video.
No, I don't want your Chinese food.
I really don't. I've had better Chinese food. Anyway, it was released through Virgin Records. At time of release, it got a lot of mixed reviews, but overall has kind of become the, I'd say vertebrae, if we want to bring back the word I used last
Regular episode, yeah.
Yeah, of December. Check that out, by the way. It's pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun.
I'd say it's kind of become like the vertebrae of some of the finest tracks in their discography. The vertebrae of their history, I'd say.
I'd say this album is probably the black sheep of their discography.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting ideas, some which I didn't really like upon first listen, but the more that I did listen, I quite enjoyed. I didn't hate it on first listen, but it was just my least favorite.
No, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
It's recently become one that I've very much been fucking with a lot because think about it like this, right? They released Homework. That blew up.
Yeah.
They did Discovery. That blew up even more.
It was phenomenal. Yeah.
One More Time was literally the song in 2001 for many school dances. It's crazy.
God, I wish I was not a toddler when I was around for that.
I wish I was actually alive when I wasn't just an egg, a fucking
zygote.
sperm, fucking, you know. But anyway, think about it like this. They probably were just like, you know what? We're at this nice elevated place now. Let's do some weird shit.
Yeah, let's get experimental.
And honestly, I can see why I got mixed reviews. But at the same time, I'm like, I respect the hell out of it for making an album that, you know, people might not like as much.
From straying away from like the formula of Discovery and Homework and just doing whatever you feel like it's very respectable.
And there is a reason why I chose this, which I will get to at the end of the episode.
Okay.
AJ, remind me.
Okay.
Remind me.
Shit.
God damn it.
Reason why you chose this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And AJ just looked at me with like the fear of God in his eyes. Maybe I'll remember. If I do remember, I don't know. Go get a sandwich.
If he doesn't, I'm fired.
It's true. That can't happen because I can't be in charge of the podcast solely. Who's gonna be in charge? Tom?
You've seen him.
His nose?
That's Tom's nose.
Where his brain's located, as
Exactly.
we established.
Part of the lore.
Oh, Jesus. But shall we get started?
I think that's a great idea.
We're starting right off the bat with Human After All. A
Fucking banger.
It is definitely, without a doubt, if not, I think it might be my second favorite, but let me fucking tell you, this song fucks so hard.
It's so good, man.
It's amazing. Like, do 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 do.
Yeah.
We are human. Like, oh,
I love like the humming, like the vocoded humming in there. That it adds just like a nice like little layer.
it's so good.
And God, it's just such a funky riff. It's
is.
so good.
I love that drum beat. Like, oh, so good.
This album is very crunchy.
It is.
And
It's
I feel
super
like
crunchy.
going off of like how smooth Discovery was to this like this particular sound. I think that might have been like a part of the reason why there was like people didn't like it as much. It's definitely a transition, but I feel
without
like
a doubt.
on its own it works very well.
Yes. Oh, for sure. And I think this honestly has become, even though not a favorite, but one of the most iconic.
Yeah.
Like people reference this album all of the time, especially Technologic.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait to get. I know I spoiled a track name, guys, but it's been out since 2005. You know what? Fucking
Yeah,
get
come on,
over
come
it,
on, guys.
It's been out for way too long.
Tisk,
What,
tisk, tisk.
18 years at this
I
point?
can't do math. I'm gonna assume that's right. If it's not, I'll write it in the description.
8 plus 15 or 18 plus 5 equals 23. I don't know why I did that to the tune of the Jeopardy.
It's the favorite song that everyone knows.
That's true.
The 18 plus 5 song.
The Jeopardy solo in Human After All. Anyway, so no, I very much like this track a lot. It's so catchy, and I
Yeah.
love like the human. Like, oh, it's so fucking good. It builds so well.
I know.
And I really like it. I love the harmony singing. It's really like an octave apart, but it's so good. I love how broken it sounds when it's
Yeah.
just like the lower voice singing. It sounds like so cracky and
Yeah.
like, I don't even know, like,
I also love all the kind of like the bwah that's like used all throughout this album too. Yeah.
They do use that all throughout the album, don't
do.
they? But it kind of like bookends in a weird way.
Exactly.
We'll get to that
Makes
in a
it
bit.
fit.
But the way that they use the guitar with the talk box and the vocoder,
So fucking good.
it really just established the fact, like, man, they're robots.
Yeah.
They're fucking awesome.
Which is kind of like a concept for this album. It's like
I'd say so.
robots experiencing human things
You ever see the music video?
for this one.
Yeah.
No.
There was like an experimental film that came out where it was actually cool. the two original robots were in a town of people, or I guess other robots with like the exact same helmets on. They were just walking around minding their own business. They're like, one of them was like a police officer, but with like the Daft Punk helmet and shit.
That's fun.
So then at one point, to stand out, the robots decide to put on these wax heads of these really like odd, like caricatured looking versions of themselves.
Okay.
They're like human, to make them look human.
Yeah.
And then the robots all just kind of stare at them and they start to go after them because they're different. Which is a nice little switch up considering they're trying to pose as robots in the human world. It was like a switch up, like now the robots are hating them for being human. Like, it's like a weird, interesting, like allegory.
Yeah.
Stories.
A little exploration.
A little discovery, if you will. So
Homework.
no, but I love this track so much. This track in high school was like everything to me. And this track and just Discovery as a whole, but I'm very glad that we're taking it a little bit of a deep dive into it this episode for Human After All.
Such a phenomenal opener. Definitely sets the tone very well.
I love it.
And just rips on its own.
A lot of these have music videos, by the way. A lot of these tracks.
I did see that, yeah.
Some of them better than others.
Okay.
Do this at your leisure. But anything else to say about Human After All, the opener?
I think it's probably my favorite track on the album. I love the riff. It's just a very funky, good time. And I think it opens the album perfectly.
It's great. And I love how polished it is because it starts to take a bit of a dive after it, which I at first was like, oh boy. But now it's really growing on me for this next track, which is my favorite track.
So you did tell me this previously, and I'm very intrigued to learn why.
Okay, so this next track is called The Prime Time of Your Life. And in my opinion, I don't know why I like this track so much. It's so weird, but it's so good.
It's definitely interesting.
It's interesting. Like, I don't know. I think what I like about it is the way the track presents itself because it kind of starts off with the like I love that weird gooey synth sound. It's so odd.
This does have a lumbering pace as well.
Is that the new buzzword of the family album?
I think it is.
We should just make after like 7 seasons, that's when we do merch.
Yes.
And we have all the words that we have ever used. But I like this one because it sounds so weird and glitchy. And I think I'm coming at this from somebody who is now like a diehard Ween fan. Like with just the way they're able to achieve this, like all these sounds. I love it. And I love how also like it starts off with the prime time of your life, but then like the other bits of the full line, how it eventually, if the pieces fill in and it says prime time of your life, now live it today, prime time of your life. And also the weird, I like it.
It is a very like unique track. It was one of my least favorites upon listening. I think that's still true.
And that's perfectly valid.
I think I definitely grown to appreciate it more. I love the sound of their voices when they say prime time of your life. It something just like kind of clicks with me there. And I feel like I said in my notes, I feel like if this was put with like a Ram instrumental, this song would go fucking hard.
Could you imagine this over top Contact?
Yeah.
That would be insane. Like
I feel like it was just kind of missing something for me.
No, and that's completely valid. Like this is a weird track, and a lot of these tracks are like kind of odd and experimental. Like overall, it kind of reminds me of like Gorillaz. Okay, how they would have like these random like, especially later on if we talk about like on off. Yeah, that one kind of reminds me of like the little interludes they have in between.
Yeah, this is like the white light of Daft Punk's discography.
Exactly. No, but I like this one. I love how just weird and like glitchy and funky. Like not funky like like it's not like that.
Like funky weird.
Like funky weird. Yeah. Like, and I think from somebody who's now becoming like a diehard fan of Ween and the way they execute all these really odd sounds sometimes, it really just like this song scratches an itch on my brain.
Which fair enough.
And I really, really like it. It's so strange in terms of the structure. Like I mentioned before, fills in the pieces of like the main lyric. And then it has that weird held out like prime time of your life. And it gets all like weird and shit.
All
and
warbly and scratched.
And then it turns into a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The song, honestly, because I hated this song for a while. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was like so odd. But now whenever it comes on my playlist, I'm like, you know what? I can fuck with this right now.
Hell yeah.
So I'd say Human After All and this are like tied for me.
Gotcha.
For some reason, I just love how unusual Prime Time of Your Life is. I almost kind of wish this was the opener.
Really?
I feel like it would have just left such a weird impression. And like, I don't know.
It would definitely send a message for where the group was trying to go.
I think it's fun though, because you go from Human After All, which sounds like a very, I'd say kind of polished a little bit.
Like very Daft Punk-esque. Yeah,
And
for what they've been doing.
And then it goes into this and it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just kind of descends from there, but then it kind of picks up again.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like this track. I love how experimental they went with it, and I will always appreciate it. I understand why people don't like it though.
Yeah.
But I always will.
This next track though, I've liked ever since middle school.
So good. So good. We are talking about Robot Rock.
Yeah, big fucking fan of this one. Dude, it's iconic. It's a great sample of Release the Beast by Breakwater.
I don't know a lot of the samples of this album or Homework, so...
Yeah, iconic sample of Release the Beast by Breakwater, used very effectively. I love the drum beat on this. It's so fun.
Good. It's so good. I love it so much. What was it? It's so repetitive, but like in the Daft Punk way.
Yeah, where that's the appeal. It's just really good riffs that keep going.
Sometimes you just got to listen to music like a robot in a factory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is normal music for robots, guys.
It's human music.
Exactly.
Rick and Morty.
Exactly. This track is iconic.
Yeah,
Robot
definitely.
Rock. This is probably one of the most iconic tracks. This is one of the singles. There's 4 singles off the album. Technologic actually is one of them. I don't know what order it all is.
Neither do I.
But this is one of the singles, and I love the music video for this. There is a music video for Prime Time of Your Life.
I saw the link, but I didn't watch it.
Don't.
Okay.
Just don't.
Not good.
It's kind of a weird, yeah, I don't want to get into it right now.
Fair.
It's kind of one of the more controversial ones because it's a little, I'll tell you after we record.
All right.
But anyway, this is a really, really cool song. I love it. I love just the rock, robot rock. And I also love when like the backing, like instrumentals
Just drops out.
and then it's the rock, robot rock. So iconic. It's repetitive but iconic, and I fuck with it overall.
I think it might go on a little too long. I think I did get pretty fatigued by the song when I listened to it back in like high school, middle school, but coming back around to it, I still really like it.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of a flaw with this album. Some of these songs just go on for a little too long.
And I would agree, especially with the next track.
Yeah.
And not the following track, but the one after the following track. Because there are some really interesting turns that this album takes.
Yeah.
But
it does.
I can agree.
Yeah. It kind of like going from prime time, it's kind of like, oh, we're back to like regular old Daft Punk. And then it's like, oh, what the fuck is this happening now?
Gooey synth again. Wow.
Whispering.
No, but let me say, Robot Rock, it's iconic. It's
great.
Anything else to say about it, AJ?
I got to thank Watch Mojo for introducing me to this song. Sadly.
I feel like Watch Mojo also had a hand in me loving Daft Punk this much.
Did you also watch top 10 Daft Punk songs?
I don't think so. I think there was another Daft Punk video because Watch Mojo was definitely how I discovered Interstellar 4-5.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. But we can talk about that another day. So much lore, guys. I love it. Okay. Anyway, we should move on to track number 4, Steam Machine.
This is probably my least favorite track on the album.
It grew on me a lot because I think like I understand why, honestly, because I don't think it's in my top 3, but at the same time, or top 5 even. But like, I love how bananas they went with this one.
It is kooky. I'll give them that.
Steam Machine.
Like, it is cool. It is interesting hearing, like these Daft Punk known for their funky vocoded voices whispering. And it's definitely creates its own unique sound. You have very crunchy synth keys.
It's fun, but there's not a lot going for it besides, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I do love how glitchy they make like the whispering sound, and it just kind of like also starts to like go in between the channels.
Yeah,
and shit.
that part is cool.
It's fun.
It definitely also fits the tone of the album for this more crunchy sound.
Oh, without a doubt.
But I just prefer the smoother sound of their other work.
No, and that's, again, completely valid. This is not one that I go to very often.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling a certain way, I will listen to this album. What way that is, I will not reveal to the audience.
Steam Machine just does something to me.
I get so hard listening to this song. Really puts steam in my machine, if you know what I'm saying.
And guys, that'll do it for this episode.
Shall we move on to number 5?
I would love to, because I love this song.
Dude, Make Love, the 5th track on Human After All. Let me tell you, first of all, I'm so happy we share the same sentiment about this track. This is so fucking unique.
I know.
It's such a, first of all, it's such a nice, like, change of pace compared to Steam Machine.
Yeah.
But also just like the most it has the sense of ambiance that's so like not seen anywhere else in this album.
It's a moment of tenderness on this otherwise very industrial and kind of crunchy sounding album. And I feel like throwing it like smack dab in the middle is a great place to put it.
It really is like a really, really good place to put it. I feel like low key, it sounds like it could be on RAM.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
With so first of all, it's got this like
the riff is so good on this.
So nice. And then they have this acoustic, or I'm gonna take a guess and say it's like a baby grand. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. Just this nice like acoustic like reverb piano over top. And it just sounds so like nice and spacious.
Really good balance. And
then not only that, we hear actual vocals from Thomas Bangalter, which is so interesting because you really don't hear it very often.
And it definitely fits the tone of the song for this more intimate kind of feeling, and it works very well.
It's very, very nice. It's not talked about enough, but also like, I mean, hey, it doesn't have a lot to the song, but it's just very pleasant on the ears.
Yes, it's very, very nice. I love the bass line as well. It's just very smooth.
It really, really is. Also, one last thing I will say, I love like the guitar like in the right channel and the way that everything's positioned. You got sort of like the airy piano kind of like up here. You got like the guitar like over here and the voice kind of lingering. It's fun.
It's great.
I just realized that the audience could not see any of that shit.
Exactly. Do you want to explain again?
You have like the guitar in the right channel, like really close by, but then you have like the piano in like the upper left sort of like of your headphone peripheral. And then the voice kind of lingers between the two channels in the middle. It's fun. I like it.
A very good setup and a very good track. Next up we have the Brainwasher. I think this is kind of towards the bottom for me, but I think I like it more than Steam Machine.
I think I can agree with you there.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt.
It reminds me of like the Pod era Ween song.
It does kind of sound like that, like the Stallion or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It's a very sludgy kind of instrumental going on, and you have the vocals which sound like it's being like sung into a fan.
The beat. Have you ever seen Shoes by Liam Kyle Sullivan?
I don't think so.
I'll show you that later. The beat kind of reminds me of that a little bit. The vocal effect is goofy.
Yeah.
It's goofy as shit.
It is very silly, but it adds like some charm to it, which I kind of like.
Yeah. I can appreciate it.
Also, the keys are
synth
fun.
pattern. The synth pattern's good. It's fun. I like it.
It is cool also how like it's a very two unique riffs and melodies, but they kind of blend together very well. Because hearing like the intro, you never expect to go into that synth break, but it works.
No, it does work, and it's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
This, I feel like you can kind of see a bit of this track in like the Tron Legacy, like
I never listened to the soundtrack.
It's the best part of the movie.
Fair enough.
It's the best part of Tron Legacy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Except when Tron Legacy will be revived in Tron Legacy 3 starring Jared Leto.
Oh, God.
That's a real thing that is happening.
It's Tron in time.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a lot of stuff to say about it. It's not one that I frequent very much. Like, I don't know. I feel like I may actually like Steam Machine a little bit more than Brainwasher.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel like I might listen to them the exact same amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. It's more like a once in a while kind of track.
Yeah.
But still interesting. A very cool house track. I can see this playing at like a rave.
It can be fun. And it's, you know what's going to be fun, AJ?
What's that?
In 2 years when it becomes the 20th anniversary of... Of
Human After All.
Yeah.
That's right. Damn, dude.
And that's going to be tight as shit. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Drumless edition.
No, it's probably going to be all these like weird like little demos and shit. Yeah. And I would kill to hear what...
Oh, yeah. What they were fucking cooking during this era? That'd be interesting.
No, without a doubt. Those French. But anyway, we should move on to track number 7.
Yeah.
On or off?
I think it's on and off.
Isn't the
on/off?
Isn't slash like or?
I don't know.
Who cares? On and off or off, whatever. Jack Antonoff, nice little interlude.
Yeah, it does its job, segues into the next track very well, and it's cool to hear, just like TV channels changing. It's a nice studio imagery.
Because they're trying to send the message of track number 8.
Yep.
Which is television rules the nation.
This one's cool.
It is.
I like this one.
Again, very iconic track. This is part of the vertebrae, maybe the lower vertebrae of Daft Punk's history.
Like 3 columns down.
Exactly. This is the one that controls like the legs or some shit.
Yeah. of the Daft Punk spinal cord.
This is a really, really weird
Forget
analogy.
icebergs, people. Let's do spinal cords next. Give me the Daft Punk spinal cord.
But you actually have to trademark it to the family album every single time because I just made that. So I'm just
Exactly.
saying. But anyway, it's a fun little track. I love just the overdriven synth sounds.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's very drone-like.
Which makes sense.
Of course, they are robots.
And also for the TV motif of, people being hypnotized and just glued to their screens.
I forget if this one has a music video.
I think it does. I could be wrong.
This is probably one of the only ones I haven't seen. I've seen all the ones for Homework, all the ones for Discovery, naturally, and like the ones for RAM. But I've never seen, I think, like the bottom half.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of the next track, but yeah.
I think I've only seen Technologic.
Which is the next track.
Yeah.
But anything else to say about Television Rule the Nation?
It's got a really cool bass line. This ominous droning definitely adds to the tone of the song and for what it's trying to portray. And I think it's just a very cool sounding track.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
It's very iconic. But AJ, let's move on to Technologic, one that I originally did not like, but has honestly kind of grown on me as I've listened to later bodies of work.
I agree.
This song is also very famous for its music video.
Yeah.
Do you know the lore?
I don't know the lore, but I know what the video is.
That was the lore that I was referring to.
Baby head.
It's like the body of a baby. So basically, they use an animatronic in the music video. It bit a kid in 1987. And then from
Markiplier was there.
Markiplier was in fact there. A guy named Afton.
Yeah.
Dafton?
William Dafton Punk. That's where it comes from.
I hate myself so much for trying to make that work. No, there is an animatronic, but there's no
Complicated lore about dead kids.
No, at least that we know of.
Yeah.
But Technologic in the music video, they use the animatronic for the Chucky movies.
Oh.
That's the animatronic skeleton used for the Chucky doll.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
And they used it for the music video because it looked freaky as hell.
Yeah, it does certainly look freaky.
It looks exactly how the song sounds.
Yeah.
Against a red background. And it's really scary.
Very aggressive.
Super aggressive.
But also kind of groovy.
It is. Again, we go back to the gooey synths.
Exactly.
I love it. It used to be my least favorite, but honestly, I'm kind of digging how it sounds.
Yeah.
It's all over the album, though, this gooey synth sound.
Yeah.
This is a nice dystopian sounding song.
It's kind of like harder. It's the harder, better, faster, stronger of this album.
Oh, without a doubt.
But like it definitely fits that kind of vibe. Just a crunchier, weirder HBFS.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a supercomputer just like running life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like it. It also kind of feels like fashion runway music. Just a little bit.
Definitely with the tempo.
But I like it. It's chill. And then the pitched up vocals combined with like the animatronic Chucky shit is interesting.
It definitely works for what they're going for.
Without a doubt. I don't have a lot more to say about it because, again, I mean, like, there's not a lot going for a lot of these songs, but they're iconic nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely crucial parts of their discovery.
Yeah. If you will.
Discography. I misspoke.
Your discoveryography. Anyway, AJ, track number 10.
Yes.
Emotion. We're at the final track.
Yes, we are.
I liked it.
I feel like it's a solid closer, but I feel like it's kind of boring. I think it definitely goes on like a little too long. But I do like how they implement motifs from Technologic into it.
Technologic from Primetime with again the gooey synths.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it bookends it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the culmination of everything we've heard so far.
It's cumulative. It was on the syllabus.
Yeah. There will be a test at the end of this album.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think it was it was a nice way to close it. It's very like ambient.
Yeah, it's kind of like Make Love in that way, but a little less tender and intimate.
Yeah.
A little more distant.
I like it. It's like this chord progression that's kind of happening like over and over again. I think I would love to see this sampled behind like more than a feeling, more than that'd be such an interesting fusion of the song because it's like the same chord progression.
Oh wow, yeah.
I kind of noticed.
Whoa.
So I'm gonna make that remix.
Hell
it's
yeah,
be fun. I like it though. I think it sort of it kind of like rounds off the album pretty decently.
It captures like a feeling of like kind of catharsis, I feel.
It has like the feel like, one thing I like to do because I'm pretentious, I like to see if any of the tracks match the album art.
Yeah.
And I feel like this kind of matches it.
Yeah,
a little
definitely.
bit.
This definitely feels like static.
It's like static, the warmth behind an old TV.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like to me. And I feel like it kind of rounds off the album well, despite it not having a lot going on. When the drums kind of kick in,
that part
I do kind of like that.
That part does rip.
I do find my head kind of bobbing. But I think it's fun.
It's like a nice, serviceable closer.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And I believe that brings us to our final thoughts. So, Matt, what did you think of Human After All?
Well, honestly, AJ, I purely like this album for the sake of the fact it is unlike any of their other discography.
Before you continue, why did you choose this album?
Well, because nobody really talks about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like the fact that they decided to take an experimental turn after they blew up in popularity from Homework and then Discovery, which is just like a wave of like new fans. I find this album is also still kind of timeless.
Okay.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very unique.
It is unique. Like, I feel like you can still kind of like sprinkle some of the tracks in like a playlist.
Yeah.
And I like it for that. It's a very odd turn, and I respect the hell out of them for like trying to execute this. Mm-hmm. I do agree with you. It is definitely the weakest in their discography, but like, I don't know. I think it's in my top, like, it's one of my favorites. Yeah. It definitely is one of my favorites because of just how much ambition they had with this to make this like weird, twisted, glitchy, like
gooey,
if you will. Yeah. Journey that they take us on. And I love how the tracks get like progressively less polished as you go along, which I feel like is sort of the motif.
Yeah,
like,
but it does strike a good balance though.
Even like, like behind every shiny exterior of a computer, there's all the wires and circuits and fucking gooey synths,
baby heads,
and steam machines,
and brainwashers
that are in the motherboard, you know? I don't know. It feels like where most of their stuff is like the outside of a computer, this is like the inside of a computer.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Just crazy. That's
damn,
really
that's crazy.
That's really it. I'm not really, this is just how I think. But I don't know. I think it was very ambitious for what they had previously.
Yeah.
And I think it's just honestly a very iconic like portion of their career.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about this album. And I like it. I like it a lot.
Want more people to talk about it.
Exactly. So I don't know. For the sake of the fact that like nobody talked about it, that's why I brought it here. And as for my ranking, I gotta say, for being so fucking iconic, I can give it a low B.
Okay, that's fair.
And a very stretched 8.
Very stretched 8.
More like in the 7 for me.
Okay.
But I'd say I'd give it like an 8 if I just stretch it like a little bit more.
There's no problem with bias for this. You're a big punk head.
I'm huge.
A big Dafter.
I love Daft Punk. I've been listening to them for I think 6 years at this point.
Hell yeah. As for me, I definitely grew an appreciation for it the more I listened to it, but I definitely don't think it's a favorite of mine for their discography. There are some fucking bangers on here though, like Human After All is great. I love Make Love, Rub by Rock's iconic, and Technologic a lot of fun. I do respect the ambition for just completely like taking a left turn in their career and just doing what they wanted.
Yeah.
Fucking respect the hell out of that. That's great. But I do feel like there are inherent problems with the album. Like some of the runtime is a little too long. Some of the samples don't really benefit from just constantly being repeated with little building, which makes the points just kind of boring to listen to. But the instrumentation is, as always, great, and the production. I love the ideas they try, and when it works really well. And I like how this album definitely fits together in its own kind of package. So I'd say I'd probably give this album a B as well.
And where would you say on the number scale?
A number scale? I'd say like a 6.5 or a 7.
No, I can, yeah. Mm-hmm. What did I just say?
Well, I think that'll bring us to our next album, Matt.
Well, before we get to the next album, I need to tell the audience the thing that I told you to remember, even though I remember it anyway.
Isn't that what I did? The reason why you chose this album?
No.
Oh, shit.
There's more as to why I'm choosing this album.
Oh, fuck.
Kind of I guess I should have elaborated. Well, the reason why I chose this album, I discussed with AJ earlier, a little bit of a behind the scenes. At some point later on, I don't really know when yet, but I do want AJ to listen to one of the probably best live albums I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Alive 2007.
I've heard great things about that.
I'm quite a fan of it because it utilizes Discovery, Homework, and Human After All combines it into this really, really amazing like experience almost. And I thought this is the last piece of the puzzle because I think
true.
you listened to Discovery. You listened to Homework like a while back, you said.
Yeah, I need to re-listen to that one, but I had never listened to Human After All before the show.
And I wanted to cover it here on the podcast because nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Why don't we talk about it here and also give you guys something to look forward to for all you punk heads out there.
All you dafters.
It is a longie. It's a long album.
That's fine.
But
if it's Daft Punk, I'm willing to put in the time.
And I think you'll enjoy it. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna review Alive 2007 at some point.
Whenever that comes out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But before we get into this next album, I'm gonna piss. Wow, Pission complete, am I right, Matt?
And how, AJ?
Shall we get on to our next album?
Oh, that is what we do next, isn't it?
That is true. That's how the show works. So the pros and cons of Hitchhiking by Roger Waters. What did you think, Matt?
So I have more elaborated thoughts at the very end, but overall, okay. I will admit I did not. It wasn't like a right away like I hated it like American football. And upon the second listen, it did grow on me. However, it did not grow on me nearly as much as American football has right now.
Gotcha.
But upon the 3 listens that I had, it definitely grew on me a bit.
Yeah.
However, I do not plan to return to this album again.
Not even if you play Resident Evil 5?
No. I don't really see myself playing this while playing Resident Evil. Yeah.
That's fair. But shall we get into a little history before we take this little deep dive?
You know what? Why not?
So, the pros and cons of Hitchhiking was released April 30th, 1984 on Harvest and Columbia Records. It is the debut solo album of Pink Floyd bassist and co-founder Roger Waters and details the dreams of a man in the midst of a midlife crisis as he learns empathy and compassion. And a fun fact, this could have been the original concept for Pink Floyd's 1979 album The Wall, but David Gilmour, the guitarist of Pink Floyd, told him to keep it for himself because it felt to work better as a solo album. And I think I'm inclined to agree. I definitely came around to this album a little more because when I first listened to it, I thought it was kind of mid, but I grew in appreciation the more I listened to it.
And honestly, like, here's the deal with it, and I'll get more into it like as we go along and my final thoughts. Because my whole issue with this album, I'll be upfront.
Yeah,
I'll be upfront. I'll be a bit upfront.
Okay.
I keep switching what I want to say. The performance on this album is very good.
Yeah,
like it's very good. And I love the way that like the singer, like Roger Waters' vocals are really, really, really good. And like the backup singers are great. The musicianship is really, really good.
Is it a bit of an Animals Christmas kind of situation?
It's just like more like the arrangements are just not very good to me. They don't feel very good to me.
Gotcha.
And the story is like, okay, you know, like, whatever.
The pros and cons of Hitchhiking were the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. But no, like, I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, there's nothing wrong with the way that anybody's singing or like playing their instruments. It's just like the arrangements themselves feel kind of bland.
I gotcha.
But I mean, there are definitely peaks and valleys with this one, way more. The frequency of shit happening is way more than the Animals Christmas. So, I mean, I can appreciate it for that. But it's really just more like the arrangement itself and just the story being kind of like, okay.
Okay, that is fair.
That's it. But the performance-wise, I thought it was really, really good.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where my drawbacks are with this album.
And that's very fair, and I respect that. But shall we dive right in?
Absolutely.
So the first, actually all these tracks are named after different times in the early morning with a subtitle. But also a fun fact about this album is that if you play this on vinyl, the tracks will line up to each time on the track listing. So like the first track is called 4:30 a.m. The next is 4:33 because the first track is 3 minutes.
Okay.
So it's just like in the span of a couple minutes, which is kind of cool. But this first track is called Apparently They Were Traveling Abroad. And I think it's a solid opener. It definitely sets the tone for this album because this riff and kind of delivery of lyrics is very prominent throughout.
This album is very consistent.
Yeah.
That's it.
But this album is essentially a rock opera.
Yeah, it is.
So the story, as I said, is about a man in the midst of a midlife crisis. Essentially, he's having this dream where he's thinking about cheating on his wife. And in here, he's on a road trip with his wife, and they pick up a couple of hitchhikers. A pro of hitchhiking, I would say.
If I do say so myself.
And then the female one and him immediately kind of go off and start having an affair.
Yeah.
And leaving their partners behind.
It's like in the back of a taxi, right? At one point.
Yes.
Yeah. I tried to pay attention to the lyrics this time because I kind of had an idea of what was going on here.
Yeah, this is definitely not an album that I guess kind of like the Animals Christmas. You're not there for the music, you're there for the story and the vocals. But it is more interesting than the Animals Christmas, I would say.
Oh, without a doubt. This honestly, in terms with just like me having to pay attention so much to the lyrics, it kind of reminded me of how involved like Lamb Lies Down was. Except there was not nearly as much variety in this album as there was in that album.
There's no fucking Slippermen, dude.
No Shooby-Doob.
No Shooby-Doobs. God rest Rail Soul.
You know what? Fuck it. Shout out to our episode with Fataday Corn Gore.
Episode 6, season 1.
Is that really episode 6?
I know, that was one of our early ones.
Oh my,
it's our third guest episode.
God damn.
We're old, Matt.
We are. We're way too old. But hey, it's 4:30 a.m.
Exactly.
AJ, he's having a dream about cheating on his wife.
Yep.
Alexander Hamilton. No, sorry. I had to.
I wouldn't get that. I've never seen Hamilton.
Neither. That's the only joke I know. I recently just saw a thing where someone recreated all of Hamilton, but with Animal Crossing characters, and they staged everything around. And I gotta say, it's kind of impressive.
That's kind of dope.
Didn't watch the full thing, but I know it exists, and I kind of want to watch it.
That's a fun concept. I like that.
It's fascinating. But you know what else is a fun concept? And I say fun very loosely. The
pros and cons of hitchhiking.
In terms of the actual song, I think it's really funny when the guitar punches on the word hungry.
Yeah, I wrote that too. He does have this tendency of like accenting different words and just having this like evil, ominous like guitar riff to like accent that. Also, the guitar work is done by Eric Clapton.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe like this album a little bit more now.
But the guitar work is definitely very effective. It's very dreamy, which, you know, captures the spirit of the album.
Yeah.
And I think like a big kind of point of controversy is Roger Waters singing.
Yes.
It's more of like a love it or hate it kind of thing. He's very unique in his own way. His delivery on this album throughout is very reminiscent of his delivery on the song Mother by Pink Floyd and their album The Final Cut. So if you like that, then you'll like this album, but it's not for a lot of people, and I completely understand why.
And I think his vocal delivery was actually one of the selling points for me.
Okay.
Like I said before, the performance was definitely one of the like better attributes about this album.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. I love when people fight with me.
Exactly. But shall we move on to the next track?
I'd love nothing more, AJ.
Next up, we have 4:30 a.m. Running Shoes. So this is the main character and the hitchhiker getting a little hot and heavy.
Oh yeah, this song is very horny.
Yeah, especially the first fucking second of this with the moan in the beginning.
It's kind of spread throughout, so to speak.
Am I right, fellas? Am I right?
Sorry, I kind of noticed it as soon as I said it. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Well, I can't just leave it there. But as they're getting hot and heavy, the main character realized that the hitchhiker only really likes him for his material possessions and his wealth rather than who he really is.
Yeah.
And he's questioning if that's what he wants in his life.
Nah.
But he still has sex with her anyway.
Naturally. Musically, I think I really like how subtle the saxophones and stuff are mixed in here. And I will appreciate the production was the other thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
The production across the board is very, very good on this album.
It's very smooth.
Especially the studio imagery.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
The frog just hopped out of Matt's computer.
Yeah, it's true. The frog. Why are we referencing the fucking thing from last month? No, but I think honestly that it starts to show a lot here how good the studio imagery and the production is with this record.
It definitely captures like the feeling. It's very dreamy, the music, especially with the saxophones. It also sounds like kind of sensual, which which works for a lot of these tracks.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And yeah, this track really kind of captures the spirit of debauchery, I feel like, with that crunchy guitar riff and like those tom drum accents in the beginning. And also the clock ticking. That's going to be a common motif throughout that essentially lets us know where we are in the dream state. 'Cause I believe it's a dream within a dream kind of scenario.
I believe you are correct from what I could tell.
But yeah, we get one of those in here because something happens in the next track as we segue.
The next track, speaking of which, is 4:37 a.m. Arabs with Knives and West German Skies.
Yes. Very abrasive transition.
Oh, without a doubt.
With Roger Waters screaming the titular lyric. So in this song, he's woken up because he's having a nightmare. And I think his wife tries to comfort him, but he wants to go back to sleep to be with his dream girl. And when he does, he takes her to a little German getaway.
Yes.
Where they spice things up.
The song is very interesting in terms of like its structure.
Yeah, it's kind of split in half in how it sounds.
And I like the sort of how would you even describe this? I like the sort of like they had like a little section where it sounds like you're inside of like a pub of some kind.
With like the tubas. Bum, 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 bum.
Like it's like a weird like
there's like a little polka break, which is cute.
I couldn't think of the word polka. Yes, like a very slow polka thing. I hate to reference him, but it sounded like a song from the format.
Oh, do you think he heard?
Oh shit!
Okay, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay,
good. That was close. He's been a little bit rowdy lately. We didn't see him at all in the last.
No, not at all.
But we're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, let's hope. He's been getting kind of big for his cage.
I would agree. The grease has dried, but not his ambition to kill.
The roost is loose.
I like the variation on the chord progression by adding the sax solo.
Yeah,
it's nice.
The saxophones are fucking awesome on this track. I really like it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Because you can tell how loudly they're playing, but they're kind of like,
brought down a bit in the mix. Yeah,
exactly.
I like the la la la's during the polka break. It reminds me reminds a lot of Quebec. Happy Colored Marbles. And there's some nice strings and a cool little solo from Eric Clapton as the song draws to a close. It is a very interesting track. I think as opposed to Animals Christmas, this is a good example of the variety that's on here. It's very interesting and something you wouldn't expect, but I think it definitely works, especially for the surreal kind of imagery that the song portrays.
Yeah, and I think the studio imagery very much helps. Yeah. It kind of adds to it.
Next up, we got 4:39 a.m. for the first time today, part 2.
Why is it part 2 before the part 1, which does come later?
I don't know.
It's like a Bastille, sort of like all this bad blood situation, I'm guessing.
Exactly like that, actually.
This album is considered to be the all this bad blood of
Roger Waters' discography.
Career, actually. I do like the seamless transitions that happen throughout this record.
They're really good.
Because I'm guessing, was this all in one take or no?
I don't know.
Probably not. Maybe portions of this was, but then like...
Yeah, probably portions. I wouldn't imagine them just doing this like front to back, but if they did, that's impressive. If they did, I'll put it in the description.
The vocals are really on point on this track.
Yeah.
Which I do appreciate.
Definitely kind of like a more nuanced kind of take instead of the more abrasive Roger Waters.
This also has this really interesting breakdown at one point in the song, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun little time. It's a fun little variation on the same chord progression and melody that kind of like
is
keeps
persistent
happening
throughout.
And then there's just like this creeping synth that happens at the very end, and I'm like, you know what, this is cool.
Everything kind of like coming to a boil.
But AJ, there is a slight clock in the left channel.
Oh, you know what that means?
Yes. No, I don't.
Well, before we get to that, in the story here, his fantasy of cheating is kind of ruined because he gets a reality check because the dream girl kind of leaves him, and his wife also leaves him. And he realizes that he'll have nothing if he continues this debaucherous behavior. But he doesn't learn from his mistakes, as we find out on the next track, 4:41 a.m., Sexual Revolution.
Man, that piano was nice in the very beginning. It was really, really cool. I bet, like, because you mentioned this is pretty much a rock opera. Have there ever been any live adaptations of this album that you know of? There
was, I believe, planned to be a movie.
That makes a lot of sense.
There's some music videos that have... like portions of that have a couple songs adapted in live action. I don't know if the full movie was ever made. I'll put that in the description when I research that later.
That's fun. I kind of wish there was a little like visual aid.
It would definitely help because this album is kind of confusing on first listen.
I feel like this actually would be kind of a interesting thing to reimagine. Like, now.
Definitely.
I feel like it's kind of worth it.
Especially with Roger Waters' popularity right now after the great Dark Side of the Moon redux.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. From what little I've listened to of that so far, it's a little rough.
It's not, it can't compare to the original. It's essentially Dark Side of the Moon in Roger Waters style. So I don't really care for it.
and that is completely valid. But we're not talking about
No.
Dark Side of the Moon. We're talking about 4:41 a.m.
Sexual Revolution.
These titles. Oh man,
Yeah, they're something.
I like how on this guitar they really just said, let's make the raunchiest sounding guitar solo of all time.
Which perfectly fits for a song named Sexual Revolution.
I actually kind of like the lyrics on this one. They're interesting, and I think it's well done to sort of like emphasize the point.
Yeah.
The guitar slaps ass. It's pretty good.
Car fucking rules. I feel like this song honestly sounds kind of like a classic Pink Floyd song, just in the way that it sounds, which I like a lot.
Shoe up, shoe up.
Yeah. Gotta love the backup vocalists are also a highlight on here.
I love when it's just like, picks up his dog and puts him in between
Two pieces of bread. That's my favorite part of this album.
It's so loud.
I love it so much.
I've never heard anybody scream bread like that. Crazy.
That's definitely like the meme of the album. I fucking adore it. But here we're taking out of the dream again. So faced with losing both women, the main character chooses the dream girl and begins an evening of sexploitation. However, he wakes up and is greeted by his wife, comforting him after his nightmare and then proceeding to eat their dog like a sandwich.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Like in real life or in the dream?
That's the indicator that it's a dream within a dream.
I see.
He's coming out of the first dream to see this sight of his wife eating their dog, and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't real. This is still in his head.
Man, wow.
Yeah.
I see. Holy shit.
That's what's in between two pieces of bread, Matt.
I don't know
Their
why.
dog.
I don't know why, but I thought they were hiding the dog in between two loaves of bread. And I just realized that, okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I just can't really read.
Hey, there's no problem. This album is very confusing. Anything else about Sexual Revolution?
Nope, I think that's all I really have to say.
Fair enough. Next up, we have 4:47 a.m., The Remains of Our Love. This might be my favorite track on the album. I quite like this song.
I will say, I was definitely feeling a bit fatigued by this point.
Yeah.
I think. And like the repetition of the melody and like the riffs and the chords, it definitely became increasingly more annoying. The whispering dialogue's a little funny.
Yeah, at the end, asking about where to move.
I also like the little twangy guitar sliding shit that they're doing. Kind of reminds me of Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
It's cool.
Yeah. Mr. Clapton just kind of doing his thing. I like that they just let him do his own thing on the album, just kind of like accent everything. It usually works to the album's benefit. But story-wise, the main character wakes up from his dream within the dream, and his wife, he's ashamed of his infidelity, but his wife reassures him that everything's fine and then suggests they move to the countryside to start over. And I do want to shout out a lyric that I think is like the best on the album. My pajama coat over my head, and she smiled as she finished her sandwich, and her cold eyes fixed me to my dark history as she brushed the remains of our love from the bed. I quite like that lyric.
I see. Damn.
Anyway, next up is 4:50 a.m. Go Fishing. This is kind of like a big kind of anchor point of the album. This is where everything goes to shit.
It's 7 minutes long.
Yeah, there's a lot packed in here. The family moves out to the countryside in the winter and all seems to be going great, but they quickly realize they rushed this decision, which causes infighting and eventually causes the wife to leave him for a friend, I think. And then he is now alone in the countryside and he begins his journey as a hitchhiker.
I thought it was interesting how they talk about like growing corn.
Yeah.
But he says it the French word maize, which is interesting.
Maize, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's cool. Instrumental wise, it feels like everything's kind of the same.
Yeah, that is definitely a kind of a low point for the album.
However, the saxophone does rip quite hard on this track. And I also like how atmospheric this track was.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I also like how Roger just kind of goes crazy throughout it. Like he gets like, he builds up to these moments when he screams. Yeah. And also a little fun fact, the main riff of this, the dun dun dun, is from a Pink Floyd song called the John Fletcher Memorial Home off of the album, The Final Cut, which is cool that he's paying reference to his previous band.
That's cool.
But yeah, there's a cool little organ break that I like a lot when he's reading Winnie the Pooh. But otherwise, it is a pretty big track.
Yeah, just a little bit, but there's still stuff I could appreciate from it nonetheless. Shall we keep going, though?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. 4:56 a.m. for the first time today, part 1. This is about the main character lamenting the loss of his wife and recognizing how he kind of fucked up.
I really don't have a lot to say about this track, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know it's a callback to the part two
Yeah.
of the first time today. And hey, that's good.
It's neat. It's cool conceptually. I kind of like how it feels a little more isolated than the first one, because just based off what's going on in the story, the little saxophone comes back, and I like that quite a lot. A little lyric highlight: "You were my everyday excuse for playing deaf, dumb, and blind." I kind of like that. Shall I move on?
I think so.
4:58 a.m. Dunroamin, Duncarin, Dunlivin. The main character is hitchhiking his way back to the city, and he tells his woes to a trucker who picks him up before quickly getting kicked out for being an asshole.
Again, instrumentally, it's kind of the same. They're just kind of like weaving in some more instruments and stuff like that, accenting here and there.
Yeah. But we find out that the main character is pretty toxic. I mean, we kind of already knew that, but here he's just being a fucking asshole, saying why his wife sucks and why he's in the right. There's also some cool callbacks to Pink Floyd's The Wall. The riff from the track in the Flesh plays, which I like a lot. And Matt is getting sleepy.
I was very fatigued by at this point in the record, 9 tracks in, but we got like 3 more left. Yeah.
5:01 a.m. The pros and cons of hitchhiking. I think this is a fitting title track. It's one of the more interesting ones on here.
Oh, without a doubt, it's definitely one of the ones that stands out to me. Probably the one that stands out to me the most. I think it's worth the title track.
Yeah.
Like, I think it definitely...
especially for sounding so different compared to everything else.
Yeah. It's very cheeky.
Yeah. A lot more straight ahead rock than ambient noodling, which is appreciated.
Oh, without a doubt. It's good. I think it's fun. Thematically, I understand why they waited this long to, like, put it in.
Yeah.
Same time, though, I just feel like it was a lot to get through to get to here.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a nice guitar solo in there, though.
It is pretty good.
So story-wise, the main character is now a hitchhiker, and in a surprising twist of fate, the person who wanted the most control now has none, as the control is left up to whatever comes in his way. And the imagery is also very surreal, because it's based off real dreams that people in the studio had. Like the one about Yoko Ono was from like some dude he was working with.
So that's why they're like random pop culture references. Okay, I see.
Yeah. Next up, we have 5:06 a.m., Every Stranger's Eyes. The main character realizes the struggles everyone goes through, and after his ordeal, learns to empathize with others' pain and see himself in their pain to become a better person.
I think it's good, though, like this track, because even though it is kind of playing off of the riff a little bit, I think it's nice because this one's more like a ballad.
Yeah, this one's a lot more kind of, I don't want to say upbeat, but it's more tender. And it feels more sincere, which definitely works for this point in the story.
Yeah.
I like just how kind like the waitress sounds. It just kind of creates this feeling of comfort, which is not felt throughout the album.
No, yeah, absolutely. She has like a very nice, like sultry, like
just comforting voice.
Yeah. You want some coffee? That was creepy.
Sorry about that.
That was creepy. I don't know what I just did.
I swear it's so hot on the album.
You should have her on the podcast, AJ, and instead of me.
Roger Waters' waitress lady.
She can be the new sex icon.
Yeah.
Instead of me, sex icon Matt Glass.
Matt, no one could replace you as a sex icon.
What's sex with a little phlegm?
Exactly. A great man once said.
While hitchhiking.
Last up, we arrive at the finale, 5:11 a.m., the moment of clarity, and I quite like this as a closer.
It's like a 1 minute long instrumental. I gotta say, I don't really think it stood out to me like at all.
That's fair.
Besides it being the end.
Yeah.
I really can't pick out anything particularly different in this track than the other tracks.
It does have the same riff that we've been hearing throughout, but I feel like it works here because it's kind of a bookend to how we begin. Because in the story, the main character wakes up from his dream and realizes how important his wife is to him, and then just kind of like is very glad that she's in his life. And I feel like the very like last lyrics during the outro are just so reassuring and comforting. Like the way that Roger Waters delivers that, I just like feel. Yeah. Which is kind of weird, but I really just like how it sounds and how it's delivered. It creates a very nice moment in the album. But anything else, or shall we move on to the final thoughts?
I think we should get to the final thoughts.
So Matt, what did you think of the pros and cons of hitchhiking?
So don't get me wrong. I think this album definitely grew on me the more I listened to it, but it still felt a little bit long to get through, despite it only being like 41 minutes.
Okay. Which is fair.
It's instrumentally very on point, and I love the creative beats it takes to emphasize the points, and I really love like the studio imagery. I like the message of the story, pretty much saying don't take your life for granted.
Yeah.
Like I think they emphasized that point as much as they could. It also just kind of felt like this album was a lot longer than it needed to be.
That's fair.
And like, if you want to disagree with me, that is more like, hey, you're the bigger fan of like how they like, you know, are with their music, because I don't really know much about Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Really don't know a lot about Roger Waters except for this album and then like the Redux.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Dark Side. It definitely grew on me though. I had to take a lot of space. So I had to take a lot of space from this album because like I told AJ, I listened to this on a car ride because this is an album that AJ told me to probably put on the back burner during our little hiatus, just to
During the summer,
yeah, just to like have at the ready if we wanted to, like, you know, like put this in the season.
Yeah.
So I was listening to it conveniently in a car, and when I was in the car, we got a flat tire. And we were just kind of sitting on the side of the highway for like an hour or two, and I was just kind of like not enjoying myself while listening to this. So I think that also kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. But now that I've been far removed from that situation, had a lot of space, I listened to it 2 more times, and it did grow on me. It really, really did. Overall, the performance is very good. The musicianship is pretty on point. I just think the arrangement itself is kind of bland.
I mean, which is fair. It is a very repetitive album.
But hey, whatever. Honestly, I think it emphasizes the point very much so.
Yeah.
There's no track on here, maybe besides like the title track, that I'd ever like single out, because all the tracks are very serial.
Yeah, this is not an album to listen to for the songs. You listen to it for the album.
The experience. I'm glad for the sake of everything that they made this album consistent, but I also feel like it was still a lot to get through.
Yeah.
Despite its runtime only being just like a minute over 40. So don't hate me for this.
I won't.
I'm going to give it like a C+.
Okay. Better than I expected.
And probably like a 6, but it could become lower.
That's fair. So this is a bit of an American football situation for me, and definitely not to that extent. The first time I listened to this, I thought it was just, you know, kind of whatever. But the more that I kind of dissected this and learned more about the story and just kept listening to it, the more I appreciated it. And I really just kind of vibed with the emotions that were just kind of throughout this thing. It's a very introspective. I love just how dreamy and like sultry and tender the music is. Even though it is repetitive, just having this kind of constant motif really makes everything fit together thematically. The story, I think, is very well done for the most part, even if some questionable, silly moments like the dog between 2 pieces of bread. I fucking love that. I think it's hilarious.
It's a fun way to phrase that she ate the dog. Like I went over my head because I just can't really read subtext, but like it's a funny way of saying it. It's a dream, man.
Exactly. Anything can happen. Just like me liking this album. But like the more I listened to it, like I was like playing Hyrule Warriors today and had this on the background, and I like had like in my mind I was like kind of like singing along, and I just looked down. I'm like, do I like this album? This is fucking crazy. But I definitely agree. The production is very good. I like the story it tells. Roger Waters is a solid performer for the most part, and it just kind of resonates with me. So I'm gonna give this a low B.
I think it's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you gave it higher, what am I going to do? Disagree with you?
It's my fucking opinion, man.
Exactly. I could get fired if I disagree. No, I'm kidding. I won't get fired. But I think I'm sure as a Pink Floyd fan, it also kind of resonated more with you too, to some extent.
Because there are like callbacks to their previous work.
And I feel like if I liked them more, maybe I'd like this album a little bit more. I also just don't really know how Roger Waters is as an artist compared to this and the Redux of Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, this is like the only other solo work that I've heard from him besides Dark Side of the Moon. So I don't know anything that's in between there. But I would expect it's pretty similar to this based on his delivery and his instrumentation, which I'm not super keen to seek out without the concept that's kind of holding this album together. But we'll see. Maybe another season. Maybe.
But AJ, I think that's going to bring us to the end of the episode.
I think that will. And this was a very interesting episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
2 albums that, again, do not have any correlation whatsoever.
No.
But, hey, they're here.
Exactly. But we're not, because it's the end of the episode.
That's very true.
So as always, I'm your host, AJ Sonari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.